Hello and welcome. My name is Borsch Justice, or Borsch for short. This is gonna be an Iori tutorial for KOF 2002 Unlimited Match. This is gonna be a quick tutorial. If you want to have a more a kind of longer version, you can just check the Dream Cancel wiki. I have written a whole article on Iori with full overview of his combos and normals and everything else. So this is gonna be a quicker version of Iori in this game, just going kind of to give you a quick overview to just help you get started, especially if you're a beginner and never played Iori in your life. Okay, so what should we start with? Well, let's just start with from the beginning. Who is Iori anyway? Iori is a classic KF character who has started from KF all the way from KF 95, and frankly, he hasn't changed all that much through the games, which may be kind of surprising. Well, what kind of character is Iori really? Well, frequently he is called sort of mix-up slash rushdown character, and this is fairly accurate. His moveset is consists of pretty good buttons, but also it is really kind of, while it's simple, it also is kind of all-encompassing. It's really universal. Iori has a projectile, a DP, but also a really good recto move that ground slams and causes hard knockdown, and he also has a command grab, which while by itself it doesn't do any damage, you can do it and continue with pretty much any combo of your choice afterwards. And also probably needs to be mentioned is his ridiculous command cross-up that can be done in the air, which has a huge hitbox, and all of that kind of creates Iori's huge mix-up potential and makes him a really kind of mix-up rushdown oriented character. Now, this has gained him quite a reputation through some games. Iori is definitely a top tier in quite a few games in 98, 2000, 13, and I think 14 too. But in this game, he's a little bit weaker than in his other games. Mostly, I would just to say it short, mostly because his damage is kind of lower, but still he's a pretty good character. So, without further ado, let's get started with it. Just before we start again, two small notes. One is that Iori's priorities in this game, they're kind of worse than in a few other games, like it's kind of worse than 98, so maybe expect to get traded or beaten a little bit more. And also, one small note is that through Iori kind of lacks a good kind of quick anti-air button, which I'll go over in a little bit shorter. But anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so close A, I won't stop over that because it's kind of standard. Close B is actually a low. It is a fairly good button. While it doesn't chain into anything, it is actually still pretty good for because it is actually +2 on block, so it is pretty good to actually combo into like that. It combos into his rectum move, so pretty useful to end block strings with because it is +2. Okay, kind of like this. Anyway, next is close C. As usual, this is your main combo starter from a heavy button, kind of heavy button combo starter, excuse me. It is really quick, it is 3 frames, so it is really good as a combo starter, but also, let me show something, it actually functions almost kind of like an uppercut move, and it hits really high, so like you can see Kyo is jumping over here, and it reaches him like all the way up in the air. For this reason, this button is really good for kind of run-unders, kind of like this. All in all, really good button, what can I say? Alright, so close D, a little bit strange button, not cancelable, but can be used as a sort of alternative to close C, I guess. Now, this is all for close buttons. For crouch buttons, actually we have a few interesting ones. Crouching A is actually fairly long. It hits fairly far. You can see that for a lot of characters it would be way shorter, and it is also cancelable, meaning that you can combo from it, and it actually makes one of his better sort of punish combos, and of course you can just you can combo chain into it from his crouch and B. Now for crouch and B, I won't step over it for long. Fairly good crouch and B, but just be aware that the chain timing from it, you can see I'm missing the chains sometimes. It is a little bit slower than a few other characters, like let's say, I don't know, slower than Kula or slower than Billy, for example. So be aware of that. Now crouch and C, I wouldn't say it's you know, like it's something special for button. It's not really an uppercut, but it's fairly good as an anti-hop button because Iori doesn't really have all that many great fast anti-hop buttons, so it's kind of useful. And for crouch indeed, we have his sweep that has gained kind of notorious bad reputation because while it is really fast, I will give it that, but it is also really unsafe in block, so be aware of that. Yeah. Now to his far buttons. Like I said, now that we're talking about it, I made a note previously that Iori doesn't really have all that great of a quick light button versus short hop. And you can see that his standing A, it hits kind of lower than you would expect, kind of around the waist level, and this makes it a little bit worse than some others. But actually this button, by the way, it is +4 on block or +6 on hit. It can be kind of interesting for block strings, for frame traps and all that. Now file B is your just kind of standard poke, but you can also see that it hits pretty low. The range could be better, but it is still fairly good. Now Force C is actually a pretty good button. It is cancelable and hits pretty far, so you can actually combo into his Rekka. Yeah, it combos from all the way from here, which obviously makes it a really pretty damn good combo. You know, also can combo into his projectile, well, if you're close, that is, or into his super, even like this. So a pretty good button, and for his far D, or standing D, whatever you call it, again, a pretty long range button. It is kind of a little bit slow, but like I said, Iori didn't really have all that many buttons versus short hop, and this is fairly good long range poke. Just be kind of aware of its speed because it could be a little bit faster, but anyway. Okay, so this is all for his grounded buttons. Let's get to his jumping buttons now. All of them are pretty good, I would say. Jumping A, nothing special. Now jumping B is great as air-to-air. A fairly good button. Stays out for a long time and really pretty damn great for an air-to-air, what can I say, really long range. Now jumping C is your standard, really standard sort of jump in. Any combo that you would want to land works from it. Hits really low, so it will probably not whiff on any croucher in the game. And finally the jump in D, also one kind of notoriously good attack. It has this kind of wheel sort of hitbox that kind of starts high up and then gets sort of lower like this, which makes it work both as an air-to-air and air-to-ground normal. So pretty good button overall. Very useful for getting in like this, you know, or like this, depending on what you prefer. One of the best buttons for your, I would say. And finally we have his CD. Now sending CD, nothing really special, as it was cancelable. And jumping CD, again, kind of standard deal, hits more like air-to-air, so may whiff on some crouchers. But also, just in case, I would mention that this has the highest priority, I think, out of his jumping attacks, so there's that. Okay, now I think we have covered pretty much all of his kind of basic buttons. Now to command normal. Iori has two command normals, forward plus A. It's this one. It looks identical to his RC. Yeah, this is RC, you can see, and this is forward plus A. Now, in previous games, this button has been cancelable. So you could do something like this. Let me show. Like I'm doing a quarter circle circle backwards plus punch here, but nothing is coming out. And this is correct because in this game, the first hit of forward plus A is actually not cancelable. So this is a pretty big nerf, and actually one of the main reasons why Iori lost some damage in this game, and his confirms got worse too. So from light attacks, from low attacks, you'll pretty much have to use the light wrecker now instead of something like this. But it's still cancelable into its super. Yep. So yeah, it's not cancelable into specials, but it is cancelable into supers. Okay, so and also it has a second hit that comes out if you input it like either real quick or you get the exact timing for the second hit. Now it has some uses, but I won't go over it for long. The second hit actually is cancelable, so you may cancel it to stuff, but it's just not really convenient to combo from. Anyway, now the second command normal he has is actually an overhead by itself. It is forward plus B, but you can probably see that it is pretty slow. And well, that kind of sums it up. Even if you cancel into it, it stops being an overhead, yes, but even if you cancel into it, it actually won't combo. But it is somewhat useful as a frame trap, you know, to catch people who like to mash after your close C and things like that. However, it's a little bit more situational, so I won't stop on it any longer. For his last interesting attack, his command normal, he actually has an air command normal, and it is his notorious normal called, I forget what it's actually called, his command cross up, but many people call it taco, because I was told that in Spanish, tacon, excuse me for pronouncing it wrong, it actually means heel, so Iori hits you with a heel, so I guess they call it taco, deco. I'm not that good in English. Anyway, yep, it actually hits backwards. You can see it doesn't hit forward, it hits backward. Now, in order to cross up with it though, it is a frequent question that how do I cross up, it doesn't come out. Well, how do you do that? Like, pay attention here. So, imagine I'm just holding forward, right? I'm holding forward, I'm pressing jump, and I'm still holding forward, right? And while I'm still holding forward, I'm pressing B. Okay? I am actually kind of holding forward. It's just that as I go over curve, my forward becomes kind of backward, so to speak. So if I'm holding right over here, here it is forward, here it is backward, right? So if I'm just holding right, here you hold right and you continue holding right and to press B. This is how you do it. Anyway, this took a little bit longer than I should probably have spent on it, but anyway. So yeah, it is a command cross-up, it is fairly good, also it stands for a longer time than other normals, you can totally combo something after it, even with a delay like this. So, one of the reasons again why his mix-up game is so strong, oops, excuse me, so you can also cross up some crouching characters with it, but also there is one more way how it is really useful. Let me demonstrate it. And actually you can do it during backdash. Yes, you heard it right. And you can see that Iori actually leaps much further back, like almost full screen when I do this. So this is really useful for him. And what can I say? It is as ridiculous as it looks. It allows you to pretty much escape your opponent whenever you don't feel like it. By the way, this is his normal backdash, and this is how he backdashes if you input backwards plus B. So yeah, very useful thing to know about him. So that's pretty much it. Anyway, and this covers up all of the command normals. So now we're getting to specials. Okay, so first let's start from his projectile. It's quarter circle forward plus A. So this is light version, this is a heavy version. Heavy version travels faster, light version travels slower. Actually, both projectiles, they come out real quick. This is a pretty standard projectile, but remember that this is a low projectile, while it is fast. The problem is that it's fairly easy to jump over and even hop over, making it kind of subpar really for zoning. So I would really be careful with it because your opponent can easily hop over it if he times it right. So this becomes so much more dangerous to throw than, let's say, the EX Takuma's projectile, so which flies pretty high. So I wouldn't get very carried away with throwing it. Anyway, that pretty much covers it up. Now, DP. Iori also has a pretty good DP, the light version and the heavy version. The light version has some invincibility, but it may trade, whereas the C version hits 3 times and is actually fully invincible on the first hit. So it cannot trade. It will beat pretty much everything, anything that it hits. Now, this is a fairly good DP. Again, nothing really crazy about it. The light version is pretty hard to punish and block. It is has pretty good recovery. The C version, though, not so much. So just a good DP, really good standard tools, pretty good reversal, pretty standard anti-air. Nothing much to add here. Anyway, now this is where things get a little bit more interesting, and we're coming to perhaps one of Iori's most notorious and one of his most important moves, and it is his record. Quarter circle backward plus A or C 3 times. So yeah, if you do it 1 time, only 1 hit comes out, you can drop the 3 hits. The last hit is an overhead, and it also ground slams. In case you don't know what that is, it means that you actually cannot quick roll after it, a recovery roll after it. Now, this is a great move for many reasons. While by itself it doesn't do all that much damage, it starts out really fast and goes really far, which makes it excellent actually for punishing different moves such as light DPs and stuff like that, which frequently goes unpunished. This move can punish well, but of course it also works great as a combo tool. Iori can easily combo into it even from his close B or like from crouching A and from his other attacks. So it makes the backbone of all his combos to say better. You can practice confirming into it. Like even if you do the first hit of the light tracker, it is fairly hard to punish and block. Many times it will go unpunished. So the C version, it won't combo from light hits, but it will go much further. Like you can see, it goes like all the way from here, it goes almost full screen. Again, it is great as a punisher, and like I already showed, it combos from his standing C from all the way from here, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, very useful move, very good move. Nothing much to add here. Now the next move is actually I wouldn't cover it for long, and it is his run grab. Looks like this. Iori runs up to, well, we call it grab, but actually it is blockable, so let me just demonstrate for a second. It is actually blockable, it's not really a grab per se. So at first, this move also causes hard knockdown. So what is the purpose for it? Well, it's not really all that useful in the neutral, I would say. Also, it starts up pretty slow. It will only combo from his close C, from far C. It doesn't really combo, you can see. But the main point of this move is that it's kind of like his Rekka, but it deals more damage. You can see that Rekka deals something like 12%, whereas the run grab deals something like 17% damage. So if you can combo into the run grab, you can do it for more damage. It's just not safe on block at all. It is really punishable, and you cannot really confirm into it either than from jump C close C string. But if you can use it, then do use it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You use it to get more damage. And finally, let's see if we have anything else. And yeah, and I think his last special that we're gonna cover, last but definitely not least important, is Scam Gale, done with half circle backward, then forward plus punch. This is how it looks like. Now, what is this? This is a delayed command grab. By itself, it doesn't do any damage. Okay? But after it, you can do pretty much any combo that you want. Now, for an easy one, you can do sending C into his C Rekka, into his heavy version of his Rekka. And for a bit harder version, you can do this. Run in close C and and then combo it into his run grab. This pretty much is really good mix of tool, a really great tool to open up your opponent. You can just throw it from an empty hub like this and open your opponent up. You can also do it from a run if you know how to buffer it like this. Also, you can just do it after a poke or something like that. You know, there are plenty of opportunities even after this. A really good tool for opening up your opponent. One of the reasons why Iori is so scary is because, you know, even if your opponent is guarding your every attack, you know, like you're hitting him like this and this, in the end you can just, like, and he's guarding everything, eventually you can just walk up to him and throw Scam Gale. But the problem is, although it is so good, the problem is that in this game, this move is not invincible at all. It lost all of the invincibility that it had in other games, so this makes it quite a bit weaker, I would say, than in other games. But still, it is, regardless, it works the same as in other games. It helps you open up your opponent, and overall, it is a really scary tool. Just don't get predictable with it, or you may get punished. Okay, and this pretty much sums up his specials. Now for a bit quick overview of his supers. Okay, so the first one is, excuse me, let me turn off the guard. The first one is his Runbow, so to speak, officially called main and measure. Pretty standard damage, you can see it does something like 22 or 21%. It starts off really quick, but actually it's not all that great, I would say, in this game. The damage is kind of really average on the lower end of it, so it starts off really fast. Now, in previous games, you may know that this move actually went under projectiles. Sadly, in this game, it does not. Also, I must say that it does have a follow-up done by inserting 4 quarter circles then A plus C, like this. Now, it costs 1 more bar and adds something like 8% more damage, I think. Now, is this good? Well, I wouldn't say so. Spending 1 more bar for just 8% more damage is not exactly great, so you won't see this all that much unless it kills. And definitely you will get more damage from using max mode, but if you cannot do max mode combos, it may actually be pretty somewhat useful. Other than that, not terribly much to say about this move. Frankly, Iori can go without using it fairly easily, not much dead. Anyway, and the second move is really, I would say, used mostly in his combos. It is his quarter circle forward twice plus 2. It is actually an overhead, but as an overhead, it is not exactly surprising. And well, yeah, that's pretty much it. You probably won't see it used all that terribly much in the neutral because it is predictable, it is not exactly great, but you will see it as his max mode combo ender a lot because it does more than his maiden measure. So, and that is pretty much it about supers. I don't think it's necessary to stop more on them. And finally, we have his max 2 move, or also as they call it, hidden super desperation motion, blah blah blah, whatever you call it. And it looks like this. Bam. Anyway, what is this move? Well, frankly I think of it as this sort of surprise move. On the one hand, it is fully invincible when he leaps, so it may go through projectiles, through everything. It kind of is usable as a surprise move because of that. But at the same time, the problem is you cannot really combo into it from anything. This is actually a command grab, so your opponent has to be standing to get caught by it. So, is it useful? Well, you decide. Frankly, it doesn't do all that terribly much damage. Like I said, you cannot combo into it from anything. But if it is, about taking the round, maybe it can get useful. Okay, and we're getting to the final part. Okay, and I guess this covers up pretty much all of his moves. So now we'll go over through his combos. And this will be probably the last part of this video. Okay, so for combos, for midless combos, like I said, you have crouch from lows, you have crouch B close B light Rekka, pretty good combo with decent confirm. 2 hits is not the most, but could be worse. And from a heavy hit, if you're doing a combo from a jumping, you can do jump C close C light Rekka. Like I said, both combos are pretty good. They end in hard knockdown, but you can do more damage if you combo into a run grab like this. This deals a little bit more damage, a little bit better combo, but only if you confirm. Okay, so these are some of the combos that are kind of useful for him. Now, also he can combo from several other attacks from a little bit further range, like from here. Yeah, from here he can still combo into light Rekka, pretty useful for punishes. And from standing C or far C, whatever you call it, he can combo into heavy Rekka, also fairly useful. Now for 1 bar, you can do maiden measure for 1 bar. I wouldn't say it's all that useful unless it kills, but if you do have bar to spend, this is okay, I guess. That kind of, I think this is more or less covers it up. Now from Scam Gale, I would say you can also do this. From a Scam Gale, either you do the easy combo, standing C into heavy Rekka, or you do a bit harder combo, you run in and do the close C into run grab. This deals a little bit more damage, so it is a little bit more useful, but if you're afraid you're gonna miss it, you can just stick with the easier version. Okay, and this pretty much covers it up for most part for combos. I wouldn't say Iori has that complicated of combos, but he can combo from many attacks, including kind of some long range attacks like crouching and standing C, which definitely gives him a big plus. And of course, he easily can combo from light attacks like this, which is definitely also very, very useful. So his combo game is pretty good, although, like I said, it's not exactly all that much damage. Okay, and finally, we're gonna talk about max mode combos again, not for long. The problem here is that Iori's max mode combos, technically he does have quite a few of them. But the problem is that they're all kind of complicated, frankly. And the problem is he never really gets all that terribly much damage. Now, I would say realistically for 2 bar he does around 50. For 3 bar he does around 60. This is on the lower end of average. There are plenty of characters who deal way more than him, so this is one of the reasons why he is not that popular as an anchor, I should say. So while they don't deal much damage, he still has mix-ups that can lead to these combos. So they're more or less kind of useful, but it's up to you if you want to do them or not. Because, like I said, there are definitely way more damaging combos. So I will only be showing one combo for 2 bar. Why this one? Because it is the most consistent one. While also, it has the highest damage also for a consistent one. So here it is. Does around 50% damage or so for 2 bar. This is kind of on the lower end of average, I would say. Not terribly much, but could be worse, I guess. And he has a similar combo that leads into his SDM. So I think this covers up pretty much almost everything that I wanted to cover about Iori. There is not much to cover in this short, quick tutorial. Definitely, the only thing I would probably add is just general strategy. Is that, like I said, Iori has pretty good mix-up tools, like his cross-up, which I already covered. His high-low game is pretty strong too, so he easily can combo from lights, he easily can combo from jumping attacks, his hop is also pretty quick. All in all, he can be absolutely a nightmare to deal with his cross-up, with his tools, with his high-low mix-ups, and then when you get your opponent scared enough, you can always run in and do a scum gale, which opens them up. This is what definitely gives Iori his biggest advantages. Now, on the other hand, his damage could have been higher, like doing, like check his damage in his main combo. It is only something like 21%. Now, this is mid-screen combo, it works everywhere, but really, Iori's damage, it's not all that great. I would say there are definitely characters who can do more, especially in the corner. If you compare him to somebody like, I don't know, Kula or Kasumi or K-Dash, definitely they can do way more damage than him. And the same goes for 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar. But regardless, he still has his mix-ups. He still is one of the few characters, I would say, who can easily score a hard knockdown anywhere from a light attack, which is big by itself, and also since it's a hard knockdown, he can do any sort of mix-ups that he wants. So for example, if you land this, you can always go for an ambiguous roll, like your opponent doesn't really know where you will wind up, and then after that you can of course just do anything else, like for example if you do a hard knockdown, you can always go for a cross-up like this, and it's kind of his vortex style, gameplay that makes Iori so evil. Like you can do ambiguous roll, then just go with another meaty, then go with a wake up throw and all that. Iori has a tons of way to open up his opponent, and every time he opens up his opponent, it goes again into hard knockdown and kind of this sort of vortex style gameplay. You get my point, hopefully. So it's his gameplay definitely is strongest when focused about his Okizeme. So when you know how to capitalize on his hard knockdowns, it definitely becomes so much scarier. And especially when you understand how to mix up your approach, how to be unpredictable, how to kind of alternate between his cross up, between his high-low game, between and of course his command grab, it gets so much scarier. But even apart from that, Iori has pretty solid game with all his buttons, with all his good standard tools like a TP, a projectile, and everything else. and overall, Iori is a really well-rounded character, I would say, who has pretty much everything needed to succeed in this game. I would just say that his biggest really drawback is damage. If you don't really care about that, he's an amazing character. I would still say that he's fairly good for beginners. He's simple, definitely on paper, but at the same time, he's frequently called a character who is easy to understand but hard to master, and it is true. Iori is, I would say, only as good as your mix-ups, as your okizeme, as your understanding of how you're gonna mix up your opponent after each and every knockdown, and how successfully you can implement his vortex style gameplay. So, and this is about it. I think took a little bit longer than I expected. Well, sorry about that, but I thought I would go into a little bit more detail on some things. So, thank you for watching. And before I end this video, I would just remind you that I will probably attach some links into the description of this video, links to Dream Cancel Wiki, and also the video combo video, max mode combo video by Frank Frost. Like I said, I only showed some combo routes for Iori, some combo routes for max mode because there are quite a few of them. So if you're interested, you can check out Frank Frost's video. He showcased most of them for 2-3 bar ones that work anywhere and ones that only work from specific distance. So I won't be stopping on that. Um, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you appreciate it. And see you later.